Hi, welcome to Ladybug R2D2. I'm Ladybug. I am doing Her Lie I Tried to Believe, which is a visual novel. Hope you all join and enjoy. Just doing a quick setup. And we're ready to begin in a couple seconds. I wonder why I don't notice at the time of the meaning behind all of this. Now that I understand it, I can declare with certainty that my life wouldn't have been completely different if I had seen through it sooner. Was I too insensitive, or maybe I simply wished I didn't really understand? No matter. Maybe you will see the truth where I couldn't. It all started in elementary school. Log, skip, auto, save, options. Not middle school, nor high school, but elementary school, just to tell how long she's been tormenting me. Yes, a girl, it is always about a girl, isn't it? Couldn't have been a rivalry between boys. No, it needed to be a girl. Fuck. There's no problem. There is no predetermined time to mark when exactly this happened. It's just kinda turned out this way, I guess. The moment I laid my eyes on her, I knew I would hate her. She was tall. Well, not tall, but still taller than me back then. You know how it goes. Her hair was not very long, boyish, would probably be a good way to define it. But again, this wasn't such a surprise. During that time, her strength must have been similar to mine even. Her features resembled most of the girls. She wasn't special, that's for sure. She had brown eyes, black hair, a cute little girl, and it stopped at that, just that. Yet there was no one thing, only one simple thing that separated her from the rest of those pure girls. Her eyes. There was something, and I'm not talking about twinkles or anything of that sort. I'm talking about something darker, something that doesn't belong to a kid. But she had it, or at least tried to, and it worked with most people, but not with me. What's up?
I wonder if she saw the same thing in my eyes. Maybe that's why I felt so much comfort,
Tempt.
contempt for her. Maybe that's why she answered the contempt with some some unknown feeling of her own.
So I don't know how bad this is gonna get. If it gets bad, you can't stay in here.
What do you mean bad?
If it becomes too adult.
Mommy?
Yes.
You do realize that happens every day?
What, adult?
Yes. You say a lot.
Well, I'm not talking about swears. I'm talking about adult content that goes beyond.
Mommy, you tell me things I still know that I'm an adult sometimes.
That is not true. You just think so because you don't like the idea of growing up.
Mommy,
We are live, just so you know, kid.
I know.
I love you.
I'm a Kit Kat. I don't know how it happened. Did the provoke me first, Was I the one busting this conception as the sole intent of our relationship?
So you're coming in here to take over my broadcast.
Yes.
Okay. You should take that marking off your nose.
No.
You look like Ron Weasley.
Oh, it's scene 2. Yay! Woohoo! Watching you. Yeah, you. You! You, I'm watching you.
And this is why I'm supposed to do my broadcast in the morning.
I'm watching you. Watching. I'm usually awake in the morning.
I know you're at school. That's why I'm supposed to do it then.
No. Not in summer.
Beep.
Booyah!
I know, but in summer we're doing family gaming, which wouldn't be my VN novels. I'm sorry, people. Don't know who's here. My kid might have been the only one actually watching at the point of this being made. So I have no idea. Oh, there are 2 people. Hi, however the next person is.
And then the next person after that.
Feel free to chat.
If you want to. What's on this chest?
Oh, that's log, skip, auto, save, and options.
Can you press skip?
No? She wants me to skip part of my VN.
I want you to.
The fact that we were rivals, I think it started because she was beating me at running. She was beating me at pretty much everything, really. But I think running was something more perceivable, and that's why I felt it weighing so much more on my mind.
Is there anything else to be beaten by a girl?
Oh, so sad. Girls rock, right? And it wasn't that she had a talent for running or whatever. It simply was that I was medical.
You know?
And it would have probably been alright with me if it weren't for that smile. That smile, always teasing me so brightly, and it wasn't that compelling either. I mean, more often than not, she would be missing some teeth due to growth. So.
I beat you, but again, I don't fully remember why she started doing this. But every time she finished before me in the waves, doing PAs, they would always look at me with that smile and say, "Better luck next time, Tim."
Oh, his name is Tim. That's funny. For me, it wasn't the greatest insult for a boy who tries to distinguish himself from the others. In an environment such as elementary school, to be beaten and laughed at by a girl, there's no way I wouldn't have it personally. So I made it kind of my life's mission to beat her at every opportunity I'd get.
No.
I'm now being petted by a baby bug.
No, you're not. I'm not a bug. And you're not a bug.
I am Ladybug. You are Baby Bug.
You're not R2-D2 either.
No, it means
I'm
Ranting
R2-D2.
Raves Dialogue Days, honey.
No, I am R2-D2.
R2D2 stands for Ranting Raves Dialogue Days. You need to go brush your hair again. I'm pretty sure you got dinner in it.
No?
Yeah, why don't you go take a bath?
No, I'm hungry.
I'm gonna have to go find yourself a snack and then it's shower time.
Ice cream?
Go ahead.
Yay!
Sorry.
There's ice cream?
Yes, go.
Yay!
Have fun, kid.
Tell me what type of...
Sorry about that. For me, it was the greatest insult for a boy who tries. But sadly for me, I was just an average guy, and while she was too an average girl, she was still slightly better than I was. I think for her it was simply a game, something to put a smile on her face, or to feel proud about, seeing me fail and looking so irritated by the fact. She might have thought I was also amusing myself somehow. Kind of feel bad. Yes. It was only when winter came that she understood the depth of my feelings. We were playing King of the Hill on a snow mountain with a couple of kids. I said but we weren't friends or even really acquainted with one another. We knew each other's names, and that was that. Maybe it made even more of an impact because of this, because no one was really playing aggressively. We were just kind of pushing each other out from the top of the mountain to climb it our own. But when I saw her, that girl, climb to the top of the mountain and try to take even this fleeting achievement from me, I just kind of snapped. I remember thinking, this is mine, you won't take it away from me. I remember having this kind of rival when I was a kid. It's kind of interesting. And she didn't because I grabbed her with all my strength and threw her on the bottom of the mountain, directly on hot ground. Ooh, that is mean. It must have hurt. It must have hurt really bad, but my thoughts weren't there. I was completely euphoric. I have no idea, I'm sorry people. With the idea that I protected what was mine, that I was finally beating her at something. I guess our strengths were really no match after all. The kids were all regrouping themselves around her for some reason. I finally understood that I did something that I shouldn't have done. Their glares on me told me so. Yet I didn't feel bad. I mean, this girl has been tormenting me way more than this, but they didn't know. How could they know? Finally, the girl, Cassandra, got up painfully from the ground. She didn't cry. She didn't try to stir up compassion from those around her. No, she simply looked at me. Looked at me with those eyes. That's when I knew she finally understood how I feel. That's when I knew she finally started hating me. Well, you just threw her on the ground, dude. Seriously? She became serious. That rivalry I thought we had was nothing more than normality for her. So by seriously trying to beat me at everything, she became one of the best students in our class. I could say some stupid shit like I wanted her to become this way because I knew she was faking to be someone else. But that's clearly not the case. The only reason I ever had in wanting to crush her were simply juvenile and immature ones, at best. I don't think she was fake before by any stretch of the imagination. I just think she had that much potential. Sure, I also became better because of the fact. But she always had the last word in the end. And her smile changed too. There was no longer this faint warmth emanating from it. It was cold, like this thing I thought I had once seen in her eyes. She finally looked at me the way I always looked at her. I guess I opened her eyes, and she then saw me for whom I truly was. I didn't feel bad about it. At least I thought I didn't. If I had any emotions back then, it was probably numbered by this exaggerating feeling of being humiliated. Also, she stopped saying her usual line when she beat me. She continued saying something alright, but it wasn't no longer that line. Instead, she just said something like, "Are you even trying?" and she would say it as often as she could. It was no longer simply when we were running against each other, but also during our academic reports and even during luck-influenced games. My elementary school life ended with an extremely bitter aftertaste. I became the laughing stock of my class, and I somehow helped Cassandra become even better than she already was. A complete different indeed. Oh, defeat indeed. But there would be other chances for me to prove my worth. I knew there would. A chance to crush her, that is. Middle school brought some changes with it. Well, not right away, but in the second part of the first year, for sure. I become taller, or maybe she became smaller. I don't know, since she was the sole thing I ever set my eyes on. She became my reference when it comes to any kind of physical changes. I could hardly believe it, yet it was something anyone could have predicted, me becoming taller than her. For some unknown reason, we still ended up in the same class. We had somehow chosen the same options. Distinguishingly enough, our hatred toward each other was still very real, so it was like we only picked things up from where we left off them during elementary school. Her hair was now longer. She started little by little to take up shapes which made her body no longer be regarded as one of a kind anymore. Even I could see how beautiful she was becoming. One of a kid anymore. Even I could see how beautiful she was becoming, yet I was still repulsed by her. Likewise, I changed in a drastic fashion. I became taller and I gained some mass along the way. Again, I was very much an average guy, but I still tried the best I could to keep my body in shape in order to eventually win against her. And that paid off. Or maybe it was just the direct result of those apparent changes. I now want to see what the log is. That paid off. Maybe it was just the direct result of the apparent changes. But in any case, I finally started to have the upper hand on her, at least during PE and other physical competitions. I was no longer chasing her, she was now chasing me. Can you at least show a bit of determination? That was my line. What a joke, really. Couldn't even think of anything clever to say, so I just stole her line and made it my own. And I wouldn't stop at that. I wanted my back to be as far in front of her as it possibly could. So I decided to start playing basketball to build up my stamina and keep my body in shape. In no time, I became somewhat popular, and I don't think I was any good really. My whole team was just that bad. That's all. And anyway, popularity didn't interest me. My eyes were still locked on her. All this time, sure, I played the card of the cool kid, faking to enjoy everyone's eyes on me, but it was just another way to get back at her. Cassandra, just her name makes me shudder. She was popular in elementary school, but now she was kinda distant and solitary. Then look at me and acknowledge my existence. It was how I thought, but every time I looked at her way, she never looked at mine. I came to realize that she had lost all interest in our rivalry. It was only natural. I mean, she no longer had any chance when it came to physical performances. So I decided it was time to change gears. If I wanted to take everything away from her, I would need to build up not only my body but my mind too. That that I love this. That bitch is ignoring me like that. I'll show her you just how much you made me suffer. Wow, this guy really dislikes this girl. It took me a long time to better my academic results. A long time indeed. It was all but natural to me, so in the end, I had no choice but to drop the basketball team in order to focus on my studies. The 2 years of middle school ended, but she was still always one step in front of me. One day, the next to the next, she would stop teasing me or even look proud of what she's accomplished. The glimpse of darkness that I once saw in her eyes is now the only thing persisting to be seen throughout her features. High school finally came, but luck was not on my side. This time around, we no longer had any classes in common. Luck. Wonder why I looked at it this way. Probably because tormenting her gave me so much satisfaction. It didn't matter, though. I could still compete with her in the midterm exams and the likes. All I needed to do was to keep on studying until I felt completely satisfied with my results. My popularity had already degraded almost to the point of being called inexistent, yet there were still girls that confessed to me from time to time. Every time I would turn them down, though. If I had time messing around with girls, I probably had time to study even longer than I already was. At least that's how I tried to keep myself focused. So, you understand, I felt pretty stupid when I first saw her with a boy. Until then, she didn't seem to show any interest in the opposite sex. I wonder why it changed now of all times. Sure, she was quite good-looking. She was a lot more feminine than she was when she was younger. No wonder she would be popular with the boys. But with how long I'd been watching her, I couldn't think of it any other way than why now of all times. I was mad. I was disappointed. I felt humiliated. So does that mean she doesn't need to study as much as I do to beat me? Is that what she's trying to say? This made me put even more effort into my studies. There's no way it's going to end up the way you want it to be this time. I was sure that I would crush her during our next midterms, so you can imagine my surprise when I actually did. The grades of the top 50 were displayed on the sheet of paper in the main hall, but then of the school. Normally she would be in the top 5 while I would be in the top 10. But this time around, it was reversed. How could this be? I was angry. I should have been happy, but I wasn't. How could I be? This wasn't supposed to be this way. There was too large a margin between the two of us. That was impossible. I remember that right then and there I looked around me, really pissed off. That's when our eyes met. For the first time, at least a year and a half, our eyes met with each other, and while mine were extremely cold, hers were as passionate as ever, as if she never changed during all those years. She even smiled at me, disgustingly so. I walked in her direction, unable to keep my cool. "What's wrong with you?" I blurted out as if there was intimacy in our relationship, when in reality it was the first time I spoke to her since middle school. "Oh, excuse me?" she said to me, trying to look clueless at the reason for my forceful approach. What a great actress she is, as if she doesn't know the reason for me to be all worked up. Is this because of your new boyfriend? Uh-huh. Is this jealousy I hear? She's doing this on purpose. Don't fuck with me. I take a hold of her collar aggressively and look at her directly in the eyes. I hear others around us talking as though I'm about to hit her or something. They seem almost scared of what I might do. Yet she doesn't look scared at all. She reciprocates my stare and waits for my words. What is it with that grade, eh? Are you not taking it seriously anymore? Now that you have a boyfriend, is that it? My grade? So you come to talk to me just because of my grade? Her eyes became stern. The inoffensive smile she once had on her face disappeared viciously. Tell me, why is it? Why is she changing all of a sudden? This shouldn't happen. Why? You ask. I don't know. It just ended up that way. That's all. Don't give me that shit. I know you. You know what? She pushed me upon hearing my words. I lost the hold I had on her as a direct result. You know nothing, Tim. You... Whatever. You better get your act together next time, or else Else what? A guy closed in on us and put his hands on my shoulder in a warning kind of frustration. Is this guy troubling you, Cass? I shook his hand off of me and walked away without looking back. I'll show you next time who's the best between the both of us. You better prepare yourself. I think she said something back to me, but I didn't hear it. I was too extremely frustrated by her attitude to hear or see anything around me. People probably looked at me the wrong way, but it didn't matter to me. As if I'd been doing as no value, as if I was ever the only one seeing ourselves as rivals. But this should be okay now. By confronting her like that, I gave her a little push. That's all she needs. Her pride will come out on top in the end. I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose her. I'll show her. Just you wait, Cassandra. How stupid I was, not understanding that the person I thought I hated the most was also the one I needed the most. Is this what we call irony? I had studied for the past 3 years on a multitude of subjects, yet I was so extremely clueless to the most natural things surrounding my life. It was only at the next exam week that I finally realized the obvious flaw in my way of perceiving the world. I was so sure of myself. Oh, for that I was. There was nothing else occupying my mind during all of those weeks of self-study and cram school. I'll beat her, fair and square. Last time wasn't a fair fight. She had purposely neglected her studies for something as stupid as love. But now will be different. I guess it's probably because of my obsession with my studies that I had yet to notice something so important, something that I shouldn't have missed. In front of the piece of paper which numbered out the best students, I was searching frantically like a madman for something that was definitely supposed to be there. Not there, not there, not there, not there, not even there. What the fuck? That's impossible. She must have changed her name or something. This can't be happening. But no matter how many times I looked at it, I was forced to conclude the same thing over and over again. She wasn't here. She was not in the top 50. I thought that may be ridiculous enough. She had skipped a year somehow, even though we're in the middle of the semester, but she wasn't in the top of the third years either. How could that be? I went directly to the ones in charge of those stupid lists. They probably had made a mistake, unless useless as they were. That's where I heard something preposterous. Something so fucking ridiculous I had no other choice but to snap back at them and insult the lots of them. They told me, and this was the most serious tone there is, that she had quit school a month and a half ago. A fucking month and a half. So while I was uselessly, obsessively, foolishly trying the best I could to surpass this girl that I thought was my equal, she was messing around probably with boys or whatever and didn't think of me even worth the effort. She probably thought she could already have everything in life since she was so fucking good. And she left me here like a fool, lingering with this fucking feeling inside of my throat that just doesn't want to disappear. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to believe it, but it was the truth nonetheless. I was just too fucking blind to see it coming. That was all. Fuck. This guy really likes the word fucking bitch. Just saying. That bitch. Fuck. That bitch. She won. Even when I was sure of winning, this hopeless feeling I was so eager to give her was now stuck within me, unable to get rid of it. She was no longer someone I could go head with since she had given up entirely. I asked for the reason for her departure, and they told me it was of a personal matter, probably had something to do with the family or whatever, but I knew it wasn't fucking bullshit. It was probably her way to get back at me, knowing that I was finally going to beat her. She just ended up quitting to make sure it never happens. But then I had a revelation. What if I decided to wait for her another year? Yeah, that would be a great idea. I just need to purposely fail and then... But then I realized I just topped number 2 in my last academic results and was pretty much sure of passing. This was over. I had lost the one thing that was keeping me going. For a time, I seriously wondered what I was going to do with my life. Now I've lost all interest, but eventually it didn't matter all that much. Since I had done this for a good part of my youth, I couldn't easily stop. So I just continued studying the best I could, with emptiness as my sole source of motivation. High school came to an end extremely quickly. The last day of school, I looked around me and saw a lot of students happily chatting together, probably feeling proud of themselves. Some had boyfriends and girlfriends at their side, their arms around them, as though the world no longer had any secrets to them. I was the best of my class, one of the best of the whole school, and yet I knew nothing. I felt hollow. I was already going to the top university. I could see my future without anyone telling me, yet I had lost something by becoming who I am. I know this, but since I'm not one of them, I don't know what that is. Chapter 2. A group date, maybe. I am going to save this, and I am going to pause the broadcast for now. I will pick it back up a little bit later.